Hello and welcome to the official Haters Euro 2024 Daily Show. I'm your host, Aaron Golston, and today I'm joined by the appropriately named El Hater and Freddie Walker from the Centre Spot podcast. We're nearing the end of the tournament, but we are still live every day at 1 p.m, bringing you exclusive training clips, interviews, and reports from our team on the ground in Germany. Before we get on to tonight's game, which is what we're all here for, last night, Spain reached the Euro 2024 final. They were victorious against France. Surprised, or have Spain just been unbelievable, Freddie?
Yeah, I'm not surprised, to be honest. They look by far the best team in the tournament. With the football they're playing, the tactics they're using, they just look so dangerous and they look like they're playing as a team. And France, whilst I thought they might come in there yesterday and cause, I guess on paper, an upset by the way that the two teams would be playing, they just couldn't get the job done despite taking that early lead. And yeah, Spain looking dominant.
Were you surprised to see Spain in the final?
No, I think they played absolutely amazing last night. I thought Yamal was amazing. What an unbelievable player.
Yeah, we'll get on to him in just a second because, look, it's Spain's fifth Euros final. They've only lost once before. That was actually to France back in 1984. France took the lead early on. And at that point, when Kobbie Mainoo hit the back of the net, I thought they're going to run away with it. This is France. They're going to shut up shop and it's job done here. But you just can't stop this Spanish team. And one man, I don't know if you can call him a man in particular, he's been the star of the show. Now you can go. Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable player. He's obviously the youngest player to score in a European Championship. And what a goal. I think he's fulfilled with confidence. He's fearless. And I think he's been one of the most impactful players on the pitch for Spain.
Freddie, do you worry that he's got a teeny tiny bit of an Ansu Fati vibe? Like, we remember Ansu Fati came onto the scene and was like, oh, this is the next big thing. Barcelona gave him Messi's number 10. And then he started last year at Brighton. Like, are we going to see Lamine Yamal play for Brentford a couple of years' time?
Let's hope not. Obviously, Ansu Fati has been terrorized by injuries. He's missed 120 games due to injury in the last 5 years since the 1920 season, and it was due to a very, very bad injury to his meniscus where he missed something like 64 games. So let's hope that Yamal stays fit, no big injuries, and the ceiling for him is so high. That goal, as El mentioned, was ridiculous. And after that, I started having existential thoughts. I started thinking, because I've seen that baby photo with Messi, and I thought, does Messi have the godly touch? And he has just blessed Yamal with this talent to take his throne at Barcelona. And it's just the odds of that photo existing and then Yamal coming and playing in Messi's position and scoring goals like Messi.
It's mental.
It's outrageous.
Are you an atheist? Go look at that picture. It's ridiculous. Like, you will question everything. The thing is, I don't know if anyone's mentioned, but Lamine Yamal is 16. Hasn't really come up very much. But he turned 17 on Saturday. Have you got anything for his birthday?
Oh, I didn't get him anything. I forgot.
He's going to be so pissed. He always is. But, okay, aside from Yamal, who was the star of the show by, a country mile, the match winner was Dani Olmo. Once again, a sensational player having a sensational tournament. It was a brilliant goal, despite UEFA's efforts to try and award it as an own goal. By far and wide, the leading front runner for the Golden Boot. But Dani Olmo is just such a good player. Came in place of Pedri, and surely he doesn't stay at Leipzig for too much longer.
Well, Leipzig are a great club, and they tend to be playing Champions League football, and he performs for them on the big stage as well. And we spoke yesterday about how prolific Dani Olmo is for Spain, and whether maybe, whilst it's sad that Pedri injury was a bit of a blessing in disguise, and it seems it, because that turn that he did for the Yamal goal, he basically created that chance for Yamal, and then obviously that touch for his goal was absolutely insane. He's a top player, and I think he'll continue to perform for Spain on this big stage.
It's low-key annoying that England are playing today, because I could just sit here and talk about Spain the whole day. Honestly, when that Yamal goal went in, I let off some really weird noise because I was like, football history just happened in front of me. Mad. Anyway, at full time, we heard from one of Spain's other superstars, Rodri.
What we done? We know that we have to do the last step. We're confident. The whole tournament, I said it in the first game, we're confident that we're in a good way. We're doing good things in a good way, as I said, working well, and yeah, now we have the last game. We have to focus on ourselves, be ourselves, and be in the same way.
Quick question, Freddie. Do you think Rodri is the best in the world in his position?
100%. I'd like to say Declan Rice, but I've got to be non-biased here and say that Rodri is just ahead of him.
I don't know. It's my England and Arsenal biases sometimes do get the better of me. But look, for every bit of Spain ecstasy, there was some French misery. Kylian Mbappe still without a European trophy for club and country. That will probably change sometime soon. He is going to Real Madrid, who literally are addicted to winning European trophies. We heard from the man without the mask after yesterday's defeat.
I'm not the coach. Yes, I know, but it's a question for the coach. I cannot come here and say, oh, this thing have to change, the other thing have to change. I just have to go on the pitch and do my best for the team and for my teammates. So it's a question for Didier Deschamps.
What's your focus after today's game?
What?
What's your focus after today's game?
My focus is to go back to Paderborn and to take the flight and go back to France. No more.
Not a happy bunny. Reminder, please do get your comments in and we will come back to them later on in the show. Look, there's been a lot of comparisons between France and England this summer, both on and off the pitch. France also going through a bit of a political change, new president coming in. Is it time for a new manager? After 12 years in charge of France, have we seen Didier Deschamps' last game as manager of Les Bleus?
Do you really think, just ask my president. I respect you. Please try and respect people who also have responsibility. I'm saying this in a very calm manner. What happened, happened. I am here to answer your questions. I am not going to answer to this one, but you know the situation very well, and you know very well what my president thinks. Maybe you shouldn't even have asked me this question.
He did not like that question. Let's see if Elle likes it any better. Elle, last game in charge. Do you think he'll go? Do you think he'll walk?
I think it's 50-50. I mean, he's been in charge of France for 12 years. He's won one World Cup. He's won one Nations League. I think maybe he might feel he has the right to decide when he leaves.
Yeah. What do you think, Freddie?
Yeah, I mean, he's played quite defensive tactics for France throughout his time with the amount of attacking quality they have, quite similar to Southgate with England, what England fans get annoyed with Southgate about. And I would almost argue in that time, he's won obviously one World Cup. If you want to count the Nations League as a major trophy, then fine. But I would class that as one major trophy in that time. And I would say that Germany had a dip in their quality. Spain had a dip in their quality. Italy weren't the best Italian side there's ever been. England were, okay, maybe the only team on paper that seemed like they can match up against France. Portugal weren't great, but they beat them in that 2016 final without winning a game in normal time. So in a way, I'd almost say, whilst the World Cup win is obviously incredible and well done, this French side has somewhat underperformed based on the competition they're going against and the finals that they've got to.
I don't know if you've ever played Football Manager, but whenever I take up the reins of the England manager, I have to win the World Cup and the Euros. He won the World Cup and the Euros as a player. And I bet that's in the back of his mind somewhere, thinking, I need to stay until I get my hands on this trophy, because then he can put himself down as one of the greats. The problem, again, with international football is that you don't play as consistently as club football. So in 12 years as manager, he's had 6 major tournaments to go to. He's won one, reached the final of the Euro 2016, reached the World Cup final 2022. He has done unbelievably well, albeit he has got a fantastic squad. Do you think is it harsh to say he's underperformed? Just one World Cup. He's won the World Cup.
It potentially is harsh, and obviously the World Cup is an absolutely incredible achievement. And they lose to Messi's Argentina in a heartbreaking way in that World Cup final for the second time. So yes, it's maybe harsh, but I do think that this French team could have come away from his tenure with 2 major trophies, and that would have obviously been a major success. But the one just feels a little bit lackluster for me.
I'm getting a teeny tiny bit impatient. But before we get on to England, are there any comments coming through?
Yes, so we have one comment from Highest Made saying that Rodri is the best CDM in the world. He never loses. We've also had a comment saying he will win the Ballon d'Or from Highest Made It.
Rodri to win the Ballon d'Or. That's actually a very, very good point. If Spain win the Euros, is he higher up the pecking order? You remember a couple of years ago when Italy won it, Jorginho came 3rd.
Yeah, 100%. You could argue that Rodri should have won the Premier League Player of the Season as well, or he's definitely up there with Phil Foden in how important he was for that Man City side. And so if he wins it with Spain and he's just as key for them as he is for City, then yeah, he definitely has a good shout for Ballon d'Or. We've also had a question from Jordan Gregoire saying, who is the most underrated player in the Euros? Fabian Ruiz, question mark?
Oh, I love this question. Underrated players that go under the radar. Look, Fabian Ruiz, we spoke about it in the last, in the quarterfinal for Spain. I think that some players in the Spanish squad have gone completely under the radar because they're not the traditional Xavis, Iniestas, or whatever playing at Barcelona, Real Madrid. So Fabian Ruiz, 1000% is up there.
Yeah, well, he's also, based on SofaScore, had pretty much the highest rating in all the games and all the rounds for Spain. So he's basically up there as the player of the tournament based on SofaScore ratings as well.
Not to make it, too English centric, but I do feel like there are a couple of England players that are a little bit underappreciated. Mark Gahey being one of them. I know we'll talk about him soon.
True.
I feel like if you don't play for one of the traditional top clubs, one of the world beaters, people just forget that you could easily be one of the best. Mark Gahey, for example, was at Crystal Palace, and finally the world is taking note that the teams away from the top 4, top 6 of the Premier League are still brilliant. They just signed Michael Elise. Bayern Munich signed Michael Elise. So it's a good question. We'll
I just, to be honest, I'd agree with Fabian Ruiz. I do think that he is the most underrated. I've just been going through in my head, and maybe as an Arsenal fan, I'd say that Saka doesn't get the appreciation that he deserves, but I'm sure we'll come on to that later. And that's basically all we've got from the comments so far.
We will come back to comments later on. A reminder, please do get your comments in. We will come to them. And please do download SofaScore using the QR code in the top left or the link in our description. Can't wait anymore. England, we're in another Euro semi-final tonight. And we're going to win it again, just like we did 3 years ago. Do you share my confidence?
Not particularly today. Honestly, I think the Netherlands have been really strong throughout the tournament, and they create a lot of chances, and I'm very scared they're going to put one away and press England back into their own box, which England have kind of had in most games, and England aren't going to be able to create many chances, and Netherlands will get a goal or two.
Elle?
I think, to be honest, I'm going to be a little bit more positive. I think England put on a better performance against Switzerland, so I'm hoping tonight we can push on from that and get a good result.
No, I'm fully with you there. I don't understand the negativity, but I'm just going to quickly throw this back at you, Elle.
Go for it.
Last week, you were sat right here saying that you don't think Bukayo Saka is like he's worthy. You said that he's gets the criticisms valid and he should be dropped. He could be dropped. Hilariously, since then, he's put in an all-timer England performance and took us through to the semi-finals. He silenced his critics for years with his numbers. They've always done his talking for him anyway. Let's have a look through his stats at Arsenal. Obviously, your club football is what warrants your international football selection. 226 matches for the Arsenal, 58 goals, 51 assists. Saka needs just one more goal for England to surpass Cliff Bastin as the top scorer for the England national team while playing for the Arsenal. Both players currently have 12 goals. Starboy, do you take back what you said a little bit?
No. I mean, looking at them stats there, for Arsenal, I think we all know what Saka is capable of. And what I was saying was, I think it's taken him 4 games to start to show what we all know he is capable of. Listen, I think he did a great performance against Switzerland. I think he got a great goal. He got the equaliser and he scored the penalty. However, do I think he's underperformed in the games leading up to the Switzerland game? Yes, I do. If you have a look at the stats, maybe with him in the Slovakia game, if we take a look at that, he had 4 dribbles, 1 shot, 6 touches in the opposition box and 3 crosses. Whereas in the Switzerland game, he had 9 crosses, 3 shots and 8 touches in the opposition box. So it's clear that he stepped up in the Switzerland game, which I think he needed to do.
I mean, the comeback to that, though, is that England did change their formation. They changed the team around, and the factor is that Saka remains in that team regardless. Even if he's not performing in your eyes, he is pretty much undroppable because he is sensational. Freddie, have you got anything else to comment here to just silence Elle once and for all?
It's a funny one with England fans and Saka, because even when I was watching that Switzerland game with a lot of people watching it at the same place as me, you could almost hear the groans at the beginning when he kind of made a pass back, and you could tell people wanted to get on his back early doors. And what people need to realize is that Saka's got 11 man of the matches for England in 28 starts. Ridiculous stat. It's 39% of his starts.
Not good enough for some, though, apparently.
He's getting man of the match. And I think a lot of people forget that he was England's Player of the Year 2022, and he was England's Player of the Year 2023.
When you're saying a lot of people, are you talking about someone in particular?
No, a lot of England fans forget it, that he has been in successive years declared the best England player of the year. And people are still saying, let's drop him. Why is Saka starting? The guy is unbelievable for England. That's shown by his man of the match stats. And he's a top class player.
Look, Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden, we know who England's real star boy is. Doesn't matter if not everybody gets it. Realistically, as we know, though, our attack has underperformed at this tournament. We've got a ridiculous amount of quality, and we haven't been scoring as many as we should have. Has that partially been down to Luke Shaw not being inside?
Well, yeah, I think so. Luke Shaw, when he came on the pitch, looked pretty threatening and opened the game up somewhat. Having that natural left footer on the left side, compared to Trippier, who seems to be quite negative in that position, goes back quite a lot, goes sideways a lot. Luke Shaw can drive forward and get balls into the box. We saw it in the Euro 2020 final. He gets the goal at the back post, and I think that's what we need. We need a bit more of a threat on that left-hand side, because so far it's been non-existent with Phil Foden and Trippier.
What do you think?
Well, definitely, I think Luke Shaw brings that balance to the team. That was clear when he came on during the Switzerland game. Do I think, however, ultimately the inclusion of Luke Shaw, I don't think it's the be-all and end-all of why England have been so poor for me.
Fair. Interesting. Let's take a look through England's stats with Luke in the lineup. Obviously, we've got all of our stats from SofaScore. You can download the app by scanning the QR code in the top left or the link in our description. 25 million people have downloaded it already. They know what they're doing. And if you like your sports, then you should be downloading it too. Look, our record with Luke Shaw in the side is pretty good. We've only lost twice in major tournaments with him playing. He scored for us that famous goal in the final of the last Euros. We averaged 10.7 shots per game with him in the team, where we've been pretty boring.
So just on this one, I saw that stat earlier on the graphic, and I thought I'm going to do a little bit of research on this tournament of how many shots, because I thought it would be way less than that. So I went on SofaScore, and this tournament we've been averaging 11.6 per game, which surprised me. I thought it was going to be 6 or 7, which is why I looked it up, and that would show essentially why Luke Shaw is so essential. But this tournament we have been getting shots away, but it hasn't felt like it.
I will quickly come back on that though. We've gone to extra time twice. We've had an extra hour to up those shots.
Very fair.
We allow less shots though per game as well, and the big thing here is only 0.9 big chances allowed per game. A big chance is something where, you know, the statisticians are really expect that a goal is probable and possible, and we really cut those down with Luke Shaw in the lineup, and he's obviously a massive threat going forward. But we can talk about him all we like. It's not up to us. Let's hear from the decision maker himself, Gareth Southgate, on Shaw and Kieran Trippier.
Luke Shaw against Holland. Yeah, Luke has been injured for 4 months, so it wasn't a possibility for him to play until the last match. He made a good contribution to the game, so that's the decision we have to make, whether he's ready to start, whether that's the best way to use him. But yeah, we're very happy to have him back. He obviously gives us different balance with the team. But also Kieran has done a fantastic job.
Southgate, you're the one. Shaw or Trippier? Who would you start tonight, and who do you think will start tonight?
I would 100% start Shaw if obviously Gareth Southgate sees a lot more behind the scenes on his actual fitness and his sharpness. But if Shaw is in any place to be fit and sharp on that pitch for the full 90 minutes, maybe even extra, I'd start Luke Shaw for sure.
Elle, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to agree with Freddie on that. I think if Shaw is 100% match fit, I would definitely put him in instead of Trippier.
England have missed another Manchester United defender this summer, but this one didn't even make the squad. He wasn't fit enough. Harry Maguire, but his replacement hasn't been underwhelming, though, has he? Bloody hell, Mark Gahey at Euro 2024. He's played 4 matches. He actually got an assist for that Bellingham bicycle kick. 1.5 clearances per game, 5 ball recoveries per game. He's in the green. It means he's having a good tournament. This is, of course, the stats provided via SofaScore. You can check out stats of any player you like on their app. How good has he been?
For me, he's been one of the greatest players on the pitch for me, and arguably been England's most influential player at the tournament. I mean, I'm a Crystal Palace fan, so I watch Mark Gahey week in, week out. And for me to see him push on and do so well in his first international tournament, I'm really, really happy with him. He's calm and concise with his decision-making at the back, and I feel like I can really trust him.
Maguire's out, Gahey in. Has he stepped up to the plate for you?
He's been great, Mark Gahey. He's been really, really solid. But I would say that England have missed Maguire this tournament. As much hate as he gets, whatever. In the last 2 World Cups and 2 Euros, England have scored 13 set-piece goals. And Harry Maguire is at the heart of a lot of those goals. He's such a danger from the Trippier ball, whether it be the Trent ball, whoever it is, Phil Foden. Harry Maguire is good at getting on the end of things. And we haven't scored or even really looked like we've threatened to score a set piece this tournament, to be honest. So I would say that we're missing that from Harry Maguire. And that opens up games when you get it's a tight game, and then Harry Maguire gets on the end of a corner, 1-0, and then the other team has to come at you. And then that's when we've kind of been able to put teams to bed and go 2-0, 3-0. But so far we've lacked that.
We've spoken about 2 United players so far that were either injured or didn't make the squad. One that also didn't make the squad, Freddie, Marcus Rashford, with Phil Foden playing a little bit, not up to the levels that we can expect. Do you think it's crazy that he's not in this squad?
Yeah, I applauded the decision of Southgate's squad being brave, but I have come around to the thought that maybe that was a bit silly to leave Marcus Rashford at home. Okay, he didn't have a good season. We've seen that with Marcus Rashford, where he has patchy form. It's a great season, then a bad season, then a great season. But this time, it does look a bit silly because Rashford is experienced in these tournaments. He is a dangerous player. He has pace. He's a good finisher. So it is a little bit upsetting to see that we don't have him as an option in this tournament.
Yeah. I mean, let's stick on Man United just for a little moment longer. One man that has stood up to this task has been Kobbie Mainoo. Let's look at his record. 216 minutes played at the Euros so far, 33.3 accurate passes per game, 96%. I don't know if you saw the stats that were on Twitter, James Benge. So it is the highest amount of, it's the highest passing accuracy of anyone this summer.
Wow.
However, only 13 passes have been forwards. And so he's 131st in terms of progressive passes. Okay. 132nd, hilariously, was McGregor. So but still he's completing his passes. He's doing his job. He's not in the green, which surprises me because I think he's been phenomenal. He wins 2.5 duels per game and 2.3 ball recoveries per game. Has he sort of cemented himself in that England lineup now?
I think so. I think he's what England needed, kind of an engine in that midfield that, can win his duels, can make good tackles. And whilst you mentioned the lack of the progressive passes, I don't think that's necessarily his job on the pitch. I think we want to see that more from Declan Rice. We want to see that from Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden, getting on the ball and making the progressive passes. Mainoo, you're there to kind of keep it settled and controlling the game. And I think so far he's done a very good job of that in the England team.
Yeah. Look, the minutes he has played, I think he's played over and above the expectation. His international experience has obviously been limited. So for him to come into this tournament and play the way he has, it's very promising. And I also think it's very important for fans and the media. We don't put too much expectation on him, on his shoulders at such a young age. Let's help to make him, not break him.
Let's take a look at the Netherlands side. Ronald Koeman is pretty excited to face Gareth Southgate.
Coaches, even Gareth has more years like the national coach of England, much more than I have. But okay, we know each other really well. We played several times against each other. We played 4 or 5 years ago. We played the semi-final in the Nations League, and let's hope that we get the same result.
Look, this Netherlands team has an abundance of talent. I've used that word twice today and hadn't used it all year beforehand. Look, a big chunk of their star men play for the world's best teams, but within their ranks, they debatably have the best player in the world in his position, in Virgil van Dijk. 73 matches for the national team, scoring 9 goals. This is Van Dijk's first Euros. He missed Euro 2020, 2021 due to injury, and Euro 2016, they didn't even qualify. It's crazy how the Netherlands, like, they're a country sort of similar to England. They've won one international trophy ever, which was Euro 1988. They've never won the World Cup. They've had some of the best players of all time. Maybe that's a conversation for another time. How did England go about attacking this Dutch defence, L, when they've got Van Dijk at the heart of it? They've got De Vrij, Ake, Van der Ven doesn't even make the team.
I mean, I think as much as we have over-scrutinised the England team, I think rest assured the Dutch supporters are questioning Virgil van Dijk's inclusion in the team based on his performance so far in the Euros. I think the defence has been below par for me a little bit with the Netherlands. I think they were slow burners in the start of the competition. They've grew into the competition a little bit. But it will be interesting to see if Bellingham and Foden can collect the ball and, get behind the lines and expose the back.
I think it has to be through the wide channels, getting balls into Kane. So obviously they're going to be playing Dumfries at right back. He's a very attacking right back. So there's going to be space in behind on the left-hand side. Ake at left back, they'll probably move into more of a back three when Dumfries is attacking. And that's why we need to take advantage of that left side. Phil Foden so far in this tournament has been fairly non-existent. I don't think that's too harsh to say. And for me, Deschamps made a very, very bold decision yesterday by dropping Griezmann, who obviously in previous tournaments has been amazing for France. This time, he hasn't been. He's been pretty non-existent, and he dropped him. Whilst it didn't pay off, it was a brave decision that I like to see. So for me, I would put an attacking left winger on there, probably Anthony Gordon, and drop Phil Foden and really, really try and get down the left-hand side and get balls into Kane. Take the Spain model. Use your good wingers. Beat a man. Get the ball in to Harry Kane, who's in the box. Let him score goals.
I fully agree with you because I think Nathan Ake is also a sensational defender. He's really hard to beat. Yeah. If England are going to score tonight, it's going to be down that left hand side.
We need to take advantage of that left side for sure.
But, yeah, I mean, just what scares. What's been really weird, is the Dutch defending from corners or from set pieces. They've got Van Dijk at the back. No free headers should be won. They should be dominating everything. We have got Harry Kane. There's a chance for him tonight. Look, the Dutch defense is brilliant, but been below par. On the other end of the pitch, they have looked dangerous time and time again. Who scares you more, El? Gakpo or Memphis Depay?
Oh, for me, it's definitely got to be Gakpo. I mean, he's had an amazing tournament so far. He's definitely one to look out for tonight. His determination to get forward. I think his threat all the way throughout all the games he's been in has been amazing. His aggression. But however, he does play on the left. So will he have the same kind of success up against Kyle Walker? Obviously, I feel like it's a bit of a Premier League clash. There's a lot of players on both sides that know each other, that are familiar with each other. So I think it's going to be really interesting.
Freddie, what do you think? Gakpo or Memphis?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with El. I think Gakpo is definitely the bigger threat. He obviously had a great World Cup for the Netherlands, got 3 goals in that tournament. He's got 3 goals in this tournament. What I would say about that, though, is that his 3 goals in the World Cup were all in the group stages, got none in the knockout rounds. They obviously went out in the quarterfinal to Argentina. But then this time round, he got 2 in the group stages, 1 in the round of 16, and then hasn't got a goal since. So I would, maybe that's due tonight. Maybe I'm jinxing something there, but maybe he just doesn't perform at the latter stages and he goes a bit quiet. But he is a massive threat. He's obviously lost the Golden Boot currently to Dani Olmo because he's now on 3 goals and beating him on assists. But yeah, it's Memphis and Gakpo are both big threats that England needs to be very careful of.
Let's take a look at both of them together. So far this tournament, they've both played every single game. Gakpo's got his 3 to Memphis's 1. I absolutely hate the hairband that Memphis is wearing. It drives me insane. I don't know what he's trying, but just if you are watching Memphis, take it off. I don't like it. They've both got 1 assist. Memphis is actually averaging more shots per game. But Gakpo is getting more key passes. Gakpo is winning more of his duels, but both of them are in the green. They've been very, very, very dangerous going forward. And I think England are going to have a lot to worry about. England's defence has been solid, but it's going to be a problem. If you want to look at any player's stats, including Gakpo and Memphis Depay, download SofaScore. It's the link in the description or scan the QR code in the top left of the screen. Now, aside from the two teams, there's always the man in the middle. And that's been a massive talking point. The referee today is Felix Zweier, previously banned for match fixing. Jude Bellingham is not his biggest fan, if you've ever seen that clip. He even sort of forced him to take a break from reffing after that clip kind of went about. Gareth Southgate was asked whether he's nervous to have a match fixing ref at the heat of today's game.
Respect for every referee. I know the two guys at UEFA, Roberto and Bjorn, who've been running the referees program, and I think they appreciate the respect we've shown as a team to officials over 8 years. I think there's a right way to conduct yourself towards officials. I think that's very important for the image of the game. So, no, I'm not concerned about who the referee is.
All right. Question. Should we wait till after the game to complain about the ref, or should we start complaining now, Elle?
No, definitely. I think we need to be... I'm quite concerned. I'm worried. I think the main thing is the previous interaction with Jude Bellingham and the ref. Like, if Jude is late on a challenge or slips and puts his foot over the ball on a challenge, will that be the first thing in the referee's head to give him a yellow card, a second yellow, or a straight red?
It baffles me that a ref that match fixes doesn't get a permanent ban. The ban was back in 2005 and it was a 6-month ban. I don't understand how you're then allowed to ref again, and especially at major tournaments and in big German games, as Jude Bellingham alluded to. But what I do think is this isn't going to be the game that he decides to pull something funky. And if anything, there's a bigger spotlight on him to make good decisions, make the right decisions, because he knows that that's the way it's going to go, and he's going to be accused of that if he gets decisions wrong. So I think in some way it could be beneficial.
Don't know if you've ever read the book, Why England Lose. It's a really, really good book. I strongly recommend it. It came out before the 2010 World Cup. It's basically going through that England always need an excuse. There's got to be a reason we don't win things, because we are the home of football and we have so much national pride. So it would be nice if England are to not win Euro 2024, which I think they will, to have someone to blame. And hopefully that would be a referee, not one of our players getting a red card like Beckham, or an own goal, or giving a penalty like Phil Neville against Romania. Something else. Having someone else to blame that isn't ourselves would be great. Look, the pressure is on. Despite Alan Shearer saying the pressure is only for tyres, I think we all know that's not the case. One man that didn't feel the pressure of taking a penalty in the last game was Harry Kane, but he was asked if he feels the pressure tonight.
About it in the dressing room, I think. Definitely the ones who have had more experience in tournaments know what it's like to play for England in major tournaments. And of course, as we've been doing better and getting better in the tournaments, the expectation gets higher, and that's been no different. So, I think people will use it in different ways. Some will use it as motivation to, up their game and up their level. Some will just block it out and, focus on what they need to do. So everyone's different in that sense.
Do you think it helps that we were literally here 3 years ago? Do you think the players, the pressure is a little bit more relaxed for them because they've been there, they've got the job done once before?
I think it's definitely 50-50. I mean, as you said, there are players that have played in a European Championship final. We've played in a World Cup semi-final, a World Cup quarter-final. So yeah, that we do now have that experience of being in them positions. But however, I still think naturally there's always going to be that added pressure. I mean, we haven't won anything since 1966. So I think whenever England play in a tournament, there's always going to be that high pressure of, are we going to do it this year? So I don't think it takes the pressure off a little bit, to be honest.
I think the team looks calm. I've seen clips of them playing golf, Saka tripping over golf bags, and they all look like they're having fun out there. And also, you look in that Switzerland penalty shootout. Oh my God, were those guys relaxed? They went through their process, took a few deep breaths, settled down, and then slotted their pens. So they look calm. They look like they know how to be in these occasions now. And so I back them to not feel the pressure too much.
Forget penalty shootouts. Harry Kane missed a penalty in the Euro semi-final last time around against Denmark. He did obviously tuck away the rebound. England get a penalty tonight, not in the shootout. Kane, Saka, who's your taker?
Oh God, Kane is a scary thought now. I would say that it has to be Kane. He's the captain, all-time leading goal scorer, but it is very scary that he missed that Denmark one, got a bit of luck, and missed the French one. And those are high-pressure penalties that he has missed. But Saka has obviously missed a high-pressure penalty before, so I wouldn't go for him. Maybe if Cole Palmer's on the pitch, just give it to that guy. He's pretty solid. Or Ivan Toney. He will just stare at the keeper and slot it one way.
Look, Harry Kane has been a little bit anonymous throughout this tournament. It's fair to say. We heard from him about what his role actually is.
Bill might end up being in the middle. I might drift out to maybe the left 10, or there's different examples where, of course, as the striker, you want to try and give as much space as possible to your midfielders, to the number 10s, and but then there's times, you know, where you want to drag defenders out into spaces they might not want to come either. So, like I've said with, you know, my game always, I try and see how the game evolves, what the team needs from me, and I try and exploit those situations.
Lovely to see him away from the centre circle for a change. Do you think he'll step up tonight?
Let's hope so. Let's hope that Harry Kane is a key man tonight, like he did against Slovakia. He stepped up then as well. So let's hope so.
All right, Freddie, any comments coming through?
Yeah, so we have one from Turbolicious. This world is
What
so
a name.
surreal. Yeah, it's a great name. This world is so surreal. Guy won a World Cup and underperformed. So that's in reference to Didier Deschamps. We also had Blue Asbestos saying that if Cole isn't on the starting squad, we are done anyway. So he's wanting Cole Palmer starting just like El does. There we go. But we've also had Nitsu Newbie saying, my star boy. I think we can know who he's referencing there. He says, I say rest Saka so he can be ready for Arsenal, which is an interesting suggestion. I don't think that will happen. And then we've also had Baya Guna say, I'm actually a France fan. Deschamps makes me want to throw up watching his bad football over the years. Forget what he's won. That French team won the World Cup in spite of Deschamps.
It's so weird.
Which is also an interesting view.
It's
maybe
weird.
Along the lines of some of what I was saying.
Football fans, if you ever went to Portugal after they won the Euros in 2016, they hated the manager. They said it was so boring as well. Maybe it's not just England fans, just Southgate.
Yeah,
maybe.
Football fans just don't like watching boring football.
Yeah.
So then we have also had UK games. Germany was the only team who can match the intensity of Spain for 90 minutes. Spain are too weak.
Too weak.
Yeah, I thought I was going to say strong, but yeah, Spain.
Interesting.
It says Spain fade after 45 minutes every match. England will win the Euros.
Wow.
He's coming home.
He's correct. Okay. Fine. Let's quickly take a look at England's record against the Netherlands. Now, we weren't really alive for this. We weren't really alive at all. 1996, England's potentially, many people will say, best ever performance came against the Netherlands. At Euro 96, 2 for Shearer, 2 for Sheringham. Because that Dutch team came into the tournament, everyone thought they were sensational. That is obviously our biggest win over the Netherlands. Their biggest win against us is just 3-1. Haha, we win. They've won against us 3 times in competitive matches, opposed to our 1. They've scored 29 against us. We've scored 31. This is the first time that we've met in a knockout match in a major tournament. We're unbeaten in the last 12 Euro matches. The last one we lost was against Iceland in 2016. We're bidding to become only the 4th country to reach successive Euro finals after Germany from 1972. They did it until 1980. And then they did the same thing again in 92 and 96. The USSR in 1960, 1964, and Spain, of course, in 2008 and 2012. For old stats, do they really mean much to you, or is it all just about now?
Not particularly. It's about now. There's obviously some good history between the English and the Dutch. But yeah, this is about today, and both teams are very, very strong, and it's going to be a phenomenal game.
Elle, you first. I want your score prediction. Who's scoring?
Oh, this is going to be so hard. I think Bellingham's going to get a goal tonight for England, and I think Kane is, and I'm going to go 2-1 England.
Okay.
I hate to do it. I've backed England with predictions all through the tournament, but I'm going to have to say the Netherlands win this one 2-1. They create too many chances that I'm scared of, and it's going to be Gakpo to score and Virgil van Dijk from a corner.
Wow.
I am agreeing with Elle. We're going to win 2-1 in extra time. Cody Gakpo is scoring. Harry Kane is going to equalise, and the winner is going to come from outside the box, a screamer from Declan Rice. We've seen a couple of we've seen him have a couple of shots so far,
Had a few feelers,
and it's coming. It's coming, and it's coming home. That's it for today. Time to get on the beers, call in sick from work, get yourself in front of a TV. It's coming home. England are in a Euro semi-final. We are back tomorrow to review the win at 1 p.m.